morning and welcome to Farm Factor on AGam in Kansas. I'm your host, Conrad Kabus. Recently, the Kansas Department of Agriculture organized a specialty block grant for several organizations in Kansas. One of the funded parties was the Highland Community College Viticulture and Enology program. Today's show is all about Highland's program and what they do for the grape and wine industry in the state of Kansas. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress Powered by Kansas farmers.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers, farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
This segment is brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Welcome back to Farm Factor on AGam in Kansas. I'm your host, Conrad Kabus. Recently, Farm Factor visited the Wamego Center Highland Community College campus with their Viticulture and Enology program. Take a look. Here in Wamego, Kansas students are learning a one-of-a-kind trade from a one-of-a-kind school. Highland Community College Wamego Center is the only school in the state to offer students courses to study various parts of the growth cycle of grapevines and how to develop wine. For more than 2 decades, HCC Wamego has provided the educational framework that allows students to complete their academic endeavors in Wamego.
Highland has taught classes, continuing ed classes or adult college credit classes in Wamego since the 80s, 1980s. Beginning that was just classes in the evening out at the high school, and as the program grew through the late 80s, early 90s, mid to late 90s, we basically outgrew the space that we had at the high school and decided to move to a separate location. We rented a portion of what we call Building A. This site was originally set up to be a business incubator, and so we rented part of the facility for that, and just gradually over time overtook the whole incubator and built a second and then a third building, and here we are in 2014, 3 buildings and about 40 classrooms.
One of the unique education opportunities they offer is their Viticulture and Enology program.
In 2008, a couple of winery owners came to the college. Said, hey, nobody in Kansas is teaching about viticulture or enology, so they asked us if we could put some classes together, how that process works, and so that's what we did. Our first couple of classes in 2000, I think it was late 2008 and beginning of 2009, our first couple of classes were drawing students from as far away as Hayes, Wichita, Kansas City, people driving 2-3 hours for a class that meets one night a week. That's a lot of miles on the car for just a single class, and we decided if there's that kind of demand to go ahead and expand it.
The Viticulture Enology Science and Technology Alliance, or VISTA, approached Highland to help with their program. VISTA is a national science foundation funded partnership between the Missouri State University system and colleges, universities, and vineyards and wineries across America.
When we decided we were going to put together a program, a group called VESTA caught wind of what we were up to, and at that time, VESTA was a multi-state program for online grape and wine classes, and at that time they were trying to expand into more states, and Kansas is one of the states they wanted to get into, and so they were looking for colleges in all these different states. Since we were already planning to do it, it was a perfect fit for both of us. They already had the curriculum pretty much written, and we had a desire to have the program and had students and a demand for the program. So we joined the VESTA group, which is funded by National Science Foundation, which meant that we were now a sub-awardee, had a couple of dollars to put into the program, so that's when we planted our first vines in 2009. And then hired our viticulture instructor, Nick, in 2010, and from there the classes took off. Our classes on the ground here started out really tiny. There was only maybe 3 or 4 students in each class, and slowly over the past few years they've grown. We do the intro classes for both grapes and wine every semester. Like I said, there were 3 or 4 students at the beginning. Now we've got about a dozen students in each class, so things are slowly growing.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Turn to a Central National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand Ag Professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank. Money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
This segment is brought to you by Central National Bank. Put our ag professionals to work for you.
Welcome back to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Conrad Kabus. Farm Factor recently visited Highland Community College to explore their grape and wine program, and we talked with Dominic Martin, an instructor at HCC.
Well, we have a pilot winery here, so we make wine commercially. But most of what I do is help people with winemaking problems or winemaking issues where they have some questions, or they might have some wine that's got a flaw of some kind, and so I try and coach them through that, so the wine can be helped or repaired, or best case would be not make a flawed wine in the first place.
The Viticulture and Enology Science and Technology Alliance, or VESTA, chose Highland to be the Kansas State site.
VESTA is mostly an online school, but Highland is the state chosen by VESTA to be the college, the college in the state of Kansas for the VESTA program. And VESTA is a terrific organization. It's about 21 states, I think, so 21 colleges. Each state has one college, and it's a way for people to learn online about viticulture and enology. You know, many years ago when I went to school, I went to UC Davis, there was Davis, Fresno State, and Cornell, and that was pretty much it. Now there's 21 schools pretty much on top of that. So it's a lot easier with explosion in the industry, the growth in the industry, and not just for winemaking, but for meaderies, places making apple cider, hard cider, breweries, all those things, in distillation places. They've all just really exploded in the last couple of years. Investors had a hand in that across the country.
As we said in the beginning of the show, KDA awarded a specialty block grant to the HCC program.
Specialty crop block program is funded by, the funding originates with USDA. They have an appropriation, and they give a certain chunk of that funding to each state, depending on several different criteria, I think one of which is the number of acres of specialty crops grown in the state. Kansas Department of Ag manages the Kansas portion of that money, and each year they put out a call for for grant applications, and the past several years we've put in an application for as the Viticulture and Enology program to get some funding to support some of the activities that we do. Since we're the only school in Kansas doing grapes and wine, we do a little bit of what you might call extension activities. If a new grower wants to get started, they typically call us. Same thing with a new winery. Existing growers and existing winemakers also give us a call, say, hey, I've got this problem XYZ, and we can either talk about it on the phone, or we've gone to visit some of their places. There's a bit of funding to grant to award students some stipends for internships that we're going to try to get started in spring of 2015.
After the break, we learn more about the Viticulture and Enology program at the Wamego Center. Stay tuned.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more. This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress Powered by Kansas Farmers.
Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor on AGam in Kansas. I'm your host, Conrad Kabus. Recently, Farm Factor traveled to Wamego, Kansas to visit the Viticulture and Enology program at HCC. We talked with Dominic Martin, an instructor. Take a look. There are several different varieties of grapevine that HCC uses for their program to give students a wide exposure to the grape industry in the United States.
The Oregon Terrell Vineyard was planted in 2009. It's about an acre, so about 1,000 vines, maybe 900. It's mostly Traminette and Chamberson. Those are two hybrids, a white and a red. We also have some Vitis vinifera trials going there to see if there's any Vitis vinifera vines that might survive in Kansas. So we have Riesling, we had Cabernet Franc and Chardonnay, we just got rid of those. We have Lemberger, which is a German red variety that looks pretty interesting, seems to be pretty cold tolerant. We also have a couple of rows of Vignoles.
There are several unique characteristics to the grapevines that HCC uses.
Well, the Traminette should be, it's a white, it's a very complicated pedigree to the vine. It has some Riesling characteristics basically, and that gives it some of its cold tolerance. It should ripen and turn, the cluster should turn from sort of a light green to sort of a golden cast. And you almost get a Riesling, or sounds kind of funny, a kind of candle wax or mineral oil characteristic to it. We usually make it, in fact we always make it with about 2.5–3% residual sugar, because if it were bone dry, it would be, to most people's palate, it'd be a little bit too tart perhaps. So the added sugar that's in the wine covers up the high acidity. Chamberson's a hybrid. It's once again has a very complicated pedigree. It has a wonderful red fruit characteristics of like red plums, cranberries, cherries, a little bit of blackberry. It's real dark in color, and we put a little bit of oak we have some oak products. We don't have any barrels here, but we have some oak products, so we put a little bit of oak on the, and we make it in a dry fashion and then also in a slightly sweet residual sugar version.
Students study various parts of the growth cycle of grapevines, how to safely use planting, cultivating, spraying, and harvesting equipment, and how to make decisions including planting, pruning, harvesting, and winterization with a wide acreage.
We've actually got 8 acres. We have 3 different vineyard sites. The experimental vineyard is 44 varieties and 12 vines of each, and that's just right out the back door here. And it includes table grapes, varieties from the state of Minnesota that are very cold tolerant, old hybrids like Catawba, Niagara, and then some of the newer hybrids like Chardonnay. And so it's right off the Highway 24, so a lot of people just pull off the highway and come take a look at it through the growing season. There's really good soil here, and the vines are very vigorous, and we'll get a crop off them a year from now.
Mechanization is also a big part of the HCC program.
Yeah, that's an awful lot of fun. You know, the vineyard mechanization is the issue, trying to put in a vineyard and farm it, develop a vineyard and farm it with lower human inputs and more machinery, obviously, to do. Some of the things can't be done by machine, like training a vine up the stake, but a lot of the other things can be done by machine. So we're talking hedging, leaf removal, things like that. And interestingly, we bought 2 pieces of equipment from a company in Italy called Rinieri, and the Italians are very smart engineers, and they're really one of this company is one of the ones in the world that specialize in this pretty high-tech equipment. And we actually haven't got those machines running yet, but we will shortly.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
This segment is brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Welcome back to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Conrad Kabus. Farm Factor recently visited Highland Community College to explore their wine and grape program, and we talked with Dylan Ruffus, an instructor at HCC.
Yeah, I'm the viticulture instructor and vineyard manager here. So basically I manage the existing vineyards that we have. We also just put in 5 acres roughly of new vineyard this past summer. So taking care of the vines and getting them up into new training systems and ramping up our production for the school winery here, and then teaching the viticulture classes as well that covers everything from site selection and site preparation, all the way through the life cycle of the vine and what to do on a annual and as well as a long-term basis for viticulture production.
The harvesting of wine grapes is the most crucial step in the process of winemaking.
I would typically say the season is starting with dormant pruning, which takes place in anywhere between late January and early March. You're going to be performing this. It's cutting down the growth from last year so that the students are going out and learning how to judge the relative vigor and growth of a vine and use that to determine how many buds they want to keep on and how this is going to affect the crop for subsequent years to come, as well as the current year for production. And then going from there, it will go through early vine growth, the students learning, depending on where they kept certain amounts of buds on, how this is going to affect the general growth of the vine, early flower formation and fruit initiation, as well as beginning of training for different types of training system depending on grape variety and vigor.
The question of using mechanical harvesting versus traditional handpicking is a source of contention in the wine industry. Mechanical harvesting of grapes has been one of the major changes in many vineyards in the last third of the century.
One of the primary things that we talk about in classes and that we're starting to study here is how much labor and how much work is involved in running a vineyard. Once you get a vineyard established, it's estimated that roughly 60% of your annual operating cost is going to be in labor alone, based on primarily using hand labor for viticulture management. And so one of the things that we're trying to incorporate into our program that will be starting up, hopefully this coming summer, we'll be starting our classes on vineyard mechanization. So we've acquired all these new tools through the Mechanization of Specialty Crops grant, where we have a leaf puller that we're going to be using, an automatic pruner, as well as a shoot thinning mechanization device. And essentially these are all devices that can be put onto a tractor instead of having to hire a large crew to come out at multiple times throughout a season to do several different processes for vine management that take place. These mechanized equipment will be able to replace the hand labor, and so it becomes a much more economically feasible annual management cycle for the students. So once we get those processes running, they will be incorporated into the lab portion of all our classes. During the introductory courses that are not specified towards mechanization, we use the hand labor as a way to, one, more intimately teach the students sort of what exactly is involved in standard management techniques, and also to show sort of the vast amount of labor required in these crops.
Thank you for watching today's program of Farm Factor on AGam in Kansas. For more of Farm Factor, or if you want to view this program again, visit us on www.agaminkansas.com, or you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. So have a good day with good luck.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress Powered by Kansas farmers.